Hallo und willkommen zurück zu The Age of Decadence. Wir sind jetzt hier im Abyss und schauen uns mal ein bisschen um. Reden wir erstmal mit dem Old Man. On a piece of history, shouts an old man, perched on the stair of some forgotten temple. With agility surprising for his age, he jumps up to start shoving different bits and pieces of stone in your face, gesturing expansively while describing their amazing curative and protective abilities. What is this junk? The old man sighs and gives you a long, evaluating look. Being an optimist, he decides you're good for at least 20 Imperials. He picks up a small polished stone with a hole in its center and says firmly, 20 coins! Are you going to tell me what it is? It's a stone from one of the buildings. I picked it myself because I know what to look for. He holds the rock up to the light and it does indeed sparkle in exactly the same manner as quartz. The magic is still there, don't worry. So you personally ventured to the abyss? I have, he says proudly. All my charms, artifacts and souvenirs are 100% authentic. I've been making journey into the abyss since I was old enough to walk, not without certain precautions, mind you. But a man as clever as I can make the trip mostly without risk, mostly. What is it like? What's it like? Repeats the old man. It's not for the faint-hearted or ill-prepared. From up above, the most looks harmless, almost peaceful, but once you're inside, you'll see there's something awful about it. You get the idea that wherever you ain't looking, it's watching you, following you, waiting for you to make a wrong step. I found bodies in the rubble that were torn apart like they were made out of paper. Like I said, the magic is still there. He gestures at the fog. And in these stones. And what is at the bottom? At the bottom, nothing, I suppose. Nothing but the dust of whatever was meant to be smashed when this hole was made, he chuckles. Nobody's been all the way to the bottom. It would be suicide. He pauses to consider. Well, maybe Anarion made it there. They tell all kinds of tales about him, but no other man has. The farthest you can go is about 300 meters, but that's far enough, if you ask me. Who is this Anarion? Anarion was one of the best. It's not enough to be brave or tough to go down into the abyss and come out again. You got to be lucky, because one wrong step is all it takes to get yourself mangled or dead, or worse. The farther you go, the higher the odds stack up against you, so wise folks will quit while they are ahead, grab what they see and get back as fast as they can. Well, I don't reckon Anarion was all that wise, but he was lucky. He went deeper than anyone else and always came back, and brought things with him nobody saw before. Not rocks and pebbles, but the real deal, old world things. What happened to him? Ended up dead. He knew how to read the abyss, but not the second most dangerous thing around here, people. There were rumors that he had a map that plotted out a safe route all the way down. We found him dead one day, but no trace of the map. Whatever his secret was, Anarion took it to the grave. Did he ever speak about what he saw down there? Everyone asked him, but he would just smile and say, things like you wouldn't believe. I don't know if he actually meant that or just wanted to put people off. What actually happened here? During the war, you mean? What do you think? The bastards hit us hard, and we got them back. It ain't pretty, but it does have its charm. That hole is like a monument to our resilience, like us saying, we've endured this crazy shit, and we are still here. Was that the worst you can do? Because if it ain't, you'd better think twice before trying again. The old man grins proudly. What do these charms do? What don't they do? Just think about it. These stones, whatever left of the district, have been cooking and all that magic for hundreds of years. Like meat in a stew, absorbing the flavor. So asking what do these charms do is like asking what does magic do? Only a true Magus can tell you for sure, but don't it make sense to wear a charm even if you don't know exactly what it does? It sure as hell does something, and I bet that this something is something you'd want to have on your side if you're ever in a tight spot. Alright, give me the amulet. Pay 20 Imperials. A wise decision, says the old man, counting the coins. When you're satisfied with your end of the bargain, he gives you the amulet. Whatever. A powerful talisman infused with the magic of the Abyss. Wenn meinen. Oh, unser Gewicht ist auch schon fast am Maximum angekommen. Da sollten wir vielleicht mal erst unseren Shit wegräumen, bevor wir hier weitermachen. Gehen wir mal gerade zur Taverne. Fort. Doch, das war hier. Ja, rein theoretisch könnten wir halt Sachen verkaufen, wenn wir Geld bräuchten. Aber so kann ich es erstmal einfach nur wegpacken. Gate to the Abyss. So, wen haben wir denn sonst noch hier? Da kann man gar nicht hin. Ja, auch nicht. Go inside the Abyss. Okay, das ist dann wahrscheinlich auch nicht mehr so gesund. Davon abgesehen sollten wir halt eigentlich einen höheren Lore-Skill haben, aber dafür habe ich gerade keine Punkte mehr. Na, machen wir jetzt einfach mal. Venture into the Abyss? Yes. The fog envelops you so thick you can hardly see the place, one foot in front of the other, and with it an absolute hush, leaving only the sound of your own breath. After your first couple steps, you begin to wonder how anyone can find their way at all, and as if responding to your thoughts, the fog begins to recede, allowing you to see at least some of your surroundings. The ground is as clean swept as a moneylender sidewalk. Nothing here, not so much as pebble, has been left unclaimed by fortune hunters. Go forward. The path is easy enough to follow, and you keep walking until you are able to discern the mounds alongside you. Until you are able to discern the mounds alongside you are bones, not skeletons as such, but piles of disconnected human bodies in such numbers you cannot even hazard an estimate of the number of dead. A sudden gust of wind dislodges a skull from its resting place and it rolls free on the ground. When the skull reaches a spot a few feet to your left, it stops as if caught and held by an unseen hand, then shatters, sending fragments of bone flying in all directions. Examine the area. The only object of interest is a big broken stone block protruding from the ground to your right. A barely visible letter M is scratched on its surface. You examine the area carefully, but fail to find any other letters. What could it possibly mean? You have absolutely no idea. Go in that direction anyway. You follow the path for a while, and as you stumble on a broken column half buried in the rubble, lightning strikes a few feet away, the instant clap of thunder deafening you. Blinking furiously, you stagger back as a white fireball appears, hovering in the air before you. For a moment, the entire area is flooded with eerie light, then it explodes. Deafened, blinded, burned, you manage to get up. Examine the area. Intelligence success. After a careful search, you are convinced that only the object of interest is the half-buried column. Go in the direction the column is pointing. You continue to pick your way through the rubble until your ears prick up an unpleasant groaning sound ahead. You come upon an erect cross of heavy timber. A man is hanging from the structure on four great black nails, and he is still alive, moaning loudly. "Kill me!" begs the man. Looking down at a sudden weight pulling on your hand, you realize you are holding a sword. Free him. You manage to wrestle the man down from the cross and pour him some water. Before your eyes, his wounds vanish and his color returns. The man rises, stronger and taller than you had supposed. You could have sworn that he has your height, and now he towers over you like a giant. Angrily, he lifts you by the throat and flings you away like a child discarding a doll. You roll in the dirt and dust and bits of stone, clutching your smashed trachea. If you had known it to be your dying breath, you would at least have filled your lungs. When you open your eyes, you find yourself lying under the cross. Where the man had been, a skeleton now hangs. It is yellow with age and has hung undisturbed for a very long time. Go in the direction the cross is pointing. You walk until a grim shadow resolves into a cairn of skulls among ruins. As you come closer, you find your fears fading away, to be replaced by a deep, encompassing calm. "I envy them," a voice whispers to you from behind. You spin. Although you can see 100 meters behind you along the path, a man has somehow appeared only a few feet away. His manner is easygoing and relaxed, as if you were two travelers exchanging a few friendly words before continuing your way. Why? They have found peace, or peace has found them. Either way, what about you? What do you seek? Knowledge. The Magi were obsessed with knowledge. Where are they now? Are you suggesting men should better live in ignorance? Men should know their limits, but the best scholars never do. Without a warning, the ground rumbles and begins to shake. The forbidding monument collapses, sending skulls skittering in every direction and throwing you to the ground. When you get up, the man's gone. Examine the area. Failure. You find no clues or signs of any kind. Keep walking. You take a few hesitant steps, unsure of the direction, and nothing happens. With growing confidence, you walk on until the breeze at your back instantly swells into a powerful wind, lifting you off the ground. Weightless, you hang in the air, struggling against the slowly increasing pressure. Fortunately, your vital organs give up first, and you are released from this world. Your body turns this way and that in the air, twisted and broken by unseen forces, until, when the last drop of blood is spent, it crashes to the ground. The Abyss claims another victim. Im Arsch. Okay, dann gehen wir halt mal so lange, bis wir nicht mehr sterben. Yes. Go forward. Free. Knowledge. Turn back. Okay. Back in One Piece, eh? Must be a lucky day. Wir haben leider nichts gefunden. Wir können auch mit niemandem reden. Das war also jetzt nicht so wahnsinnig erfolgreich. Na gut. Hm. Garnese haben wir auch noch, aber wenn wir da hinreisen sollten, dann ist wahrscheinlich Schluss. Also dann ist hier wieder alles abgeschlossen. Ich mach das mal gerade. Da können wir so hin. Ne, okay, dann ist quasi hier die... Nee, das ist hier noch wieder. The Imperial Library of Saross was actually built after the fall of the Empire. A noble yet futile attempt to preserve the rapidly disappearing knowledge for future generations. The library operated for almost 4 decades, but came to an unexpected end when rumors that the library collected more than dusty old scrolls started spreading. The volunteers protecting the library managed to repel 2 attacks before the complex was overrun by raiders who didn't leave many stones unturned looking for anything valuable. Explore. Okay, wir haben eine neue Location entdeckt. Und die Quests sind auch nicht verloren gegangen. Okay. 5 Skillpunkte. Come here! Ja, gleich. Wir müssen erst noch rumlaufen und Krams einsammeln. Stones are too heavy. Prospector. Come join me, says the prospector, grinning. I've been here for almost a week, and nothing pleases me more now than the sight of another human being. The coffee tastes like dirt, but you're welcome to it. There's some bread if you're hungry. Perception success, street fight success. His body language is wrong, refuses offer. If my food isn't good enough for you, I suggest you be on your way, stranger, says the prospector, putting his hands on his aches. Wish I could, but I was told to scout the area and wait for the legatus here. He will be pissed if I'm not here, trust me. You'll have enough trouble dealing with him when he's in a good mood, but if he's pissed, he'll nail you to a cross first and ask questions second. Bullshit, says the prospector, looking at you suspiciously. Leave. Okay, der hat eine Axt. Ja, komm doch her. Daneben. Oh, da haben wir noch Plans. Ah, shit. Noch 3 übrig. Das hätte ich anders machen müssen. Aua, und vergiftet. Ja, also mit Glück kann ich den schon schaffen. Aber das ist ein bisschen rumgefrickelt, glaube ich. Das hat gut reingezwiebelt. Jetzt einmal fast. Ja. Gut. Bin vergiftet, aber wenn wir den jetzt... Ja, dann ist das Gift auch weg. Dann kann mir das egal sein. Air Valve, a device designed to control the flow of air. Ingenious. Wir haben doch eine Breathing Apparatus of the Old Empire when charged with magical energies. Ja, okay. Ja, wir haben auf jeden Fall neues Material, um Zeug zu bauen. Das ist immer gut. Ja. Erfahrungspunkte habe ich jetzt keine für den bekommen. Das ist ein bisschen schade. Examine the shelves. Nothing but dread droppings. Something about the first of the Magi. He who built his ascent up to the sky. He would founded the vaulted dome above Madura, and he will raise the mighty pillars. So. Dann müssen wir wieder das Fenster größer machen. There came a great disturbance in the town Lakia by the Natsvian Sea, with confusion and flight. And all the people fled from the ships, the kingdom of Kantar, which had crossed the sea, inflicting every kind of punishment upon the people of Lakia. The imperial army, being blessed and varying in design, fell upon the enemy. Slain were the men, their ships set aflame, the women taken into bondage. Sehr hilfreich. The ink faded and disappeared a long time ago. Ah, da können wir upstairs. Da haben wir eine Figur, mit der wir aber nichts machen können. The ink faded and disappeared a long time ago. The cities did lay in ruin, the rivers did no longer flow, the mountains had tumbled, and the dead did strew the whole land. The wrath of power brought down both the wicked kingdom of Kantar and the glorious empire. The gods returned to their kingless realm, for everyone must go to the place from which he comes. You find nothing of interest. Aber schöne Glasfenster haben sie. Ja, dann gehen wir wieder runter. Ich hoffe mal, dass diese Marke, die ich hier habe, um den Typen zu sehen, nicht abläuft oder so. Ich kann außerdem, damit wäre der wahrscheinlich auch noch einfacher gewesen, das hier auf meine Waffe packen. Naja, warte mal bis zum nächsten Kampf, bevor ich das mache. Down to the basement. Aha. War did come, and like the army who brought it, the magnitude humbled all that came before. Men and towns burned alike, and even the seas stirred with the fury of war. The sun became as night, and the moon ceased to shine. The war continued with the passing of many years, and although countless thousands had died, the Kantari servants of power called upon the gods of chaos, who came forth like an eruption, consuming their armies and fleets of men. Nothing but red droppings. Then the high Magi summoned beings which have no king and deign superiority to all that came before them. Moreover, immortality defies them with the mortal domain. Exalting them far beyond kings and champions, they did then condemn the gods of chaos and their forces, casting them into the abyss and breaking their malefic hold upon the land. You find an old map, but it falls apart in your hands at the moment you touch it. The fragments depict a strange arc in the middle of nowhere, and a stylized tower surrounded by small dwellings. You add both locations to your map. Oha, cool. A single year did come to pass, and again a great number of Kantari ships crossed the sea. The ships carried an army larger than had ever been witnessed, and never had the words of power afforded such benefit to a coming invasion. Lore success. You find a crumbling scroll depicting a strange diagram and some comments written in a language you recognize. It seems that the scroll shows some kind of network connecting different places. Although the purpose of such a network is unclear, you are able to copy 2 locations to your map before the scroll falls apart in your hands. You see a strange machine, old and broken, stripped of any parts that had any value. Lore crafting, see if you can fix it. Success. As far as you can tell, it's a generator built after the fall of the Empire, which explains its design. Less reliant on otherworldly energies and things man wasn't meant to know. It runs on oil, but the parts that inject the oil into the main chamber and the air valve regulating the air intake are missing. The rest you can do without, considering that you only need this fearsome engine of destruction to report for duty one last time. Come to think about it, you could probably do without the fuel injector and rig up something very temporary and hope that the machine doesn't blow up in your face. Crafting, reattach the air valve. It takes a while, but eventually the air valve is restored to its rightful place. You really need an oil injector to make this thing work? Surely you can do without it. Failure. Turns out that fuel injectors are needlessly complicated and can't be easily replaced with metal shavings and old gears. Try something else. Okay. Wir hatten da aber auch noch was, das wir angucken können. Search for a switch. Knowing that there's another chamber behind the wall, it doesn't take you long to find a hidden switch. Ah, you press the switch but nothing happens. Probably needs power. Huh. Okay. So, wir haben 4 neue Locations gefunden, wenn ich es richtig verstanden habe. Oder ist auch noch was? Ja, also so Kräuter und so weiter hat man schon eine ganze Menge. Naja, 7 Skill Points ist natürlich jetzt immer noch nicht so doll. Zamedi. Saross. Okay, dann schreibe ich mir auch mal auf. To do. Saross. Valve für Maschine needed. Ja, oder mehr Crafting. Die Ark. Ach, da unten ist auch noch was. In Ferie. Zamedi. You're standing among the ruins of the town of Zamedi. Not much is left of it. A few broken columns and wall fragments sticking out from the sand like graveyard stones. And of course, the tower, a relic from another age. Once a beacon of arcane knowledge, now a desert lighthouse warning caravan masters to stay clear of this area. Just as you begin to dismiss such a caution as foolish superstition, nausea wells up within you, and your skin starts to prickle. The magic that was unleashed on Zamedi may have weakened over the centuries, but it's far from gone. Believer. Preacher. Have you come to pray, brother? Asked the man, chanting the words. Have you come to marvel at that which has been spared their watch? Have you come to ask why? You mean the tower? Is that all you see, brother? Scoffs the man, looking at you with pity. A dusty old tower. And how, pray tell, did it survive the destruction of this land? But what, by what miracle? By whose miracle? You know what I see, says the man, changing his tone and going back to chanting. I see a shining beacon of faith, a message in God's own writing to those who have eyes to see. Why else was it spared when everything else was destroyed? Why else was it spared when the gods could have flicked it away as one would an insect? Oh, it was no accident, believe me, there is a grand design at work here, my friend. So, why did they spare it? It's their way of telling us that this is the house of God. By their mercy, it was saved. It will be by their mercy that we will be saved when these doors will be opened and only those of pure heart and mind will be permitted to enter. Only they and nobody else will be saved when the gods return to end the reign of man. Only they and nobody else will receive their grace and be allowed to drink from the divine springs. How did you find this tower? The gods led me to it. My caravan was attacked by raiders and I had to flee. After days of wandering in the desert, I prayed to the gods to save me. The very moment I uttered those words, the sky started to clear, and I saw it standing there in all its glory, heavenly light shining down upon it. The gods showed me the way. They tested me and my faith to see if I would falter and fail, to see if I would start having doubts, to see if I would turn away from them like many have done time and time again. But I did not. I passed the test. I placed myself into their hands, and by their grace I did survive. Na dann. Shimmering Wall. Da ist ja mal gar nichts. Viel Spaß mit deinem Turm hier. As you get closer to see why the tower hasn't been ransacked yet, a shimmering wall das macht irgendwie keinen Sinn. A shimmering wall of red light, too bright to look at directly, blocks the entrance. Warily you take a step forward and the red light surrounds you instantly. It feels like you are walking underwater, fighting for every step. You glance back to measure your progress and realize that you haven't moved an inch. Leave. Tja, ne? Gut, haben wir halt wieder ein paar Punkte bekommen. Dadurch, dass wir hier waren. Dann gehen wir halt noch da. Ach, da sind wir gerade. Dann gehen wir halt noch dahin. After a long and arduous journey through the desert, you finally arrive at the site marked on your map. It's an abandoned excavation about 50 feet deep and twice as wide. Whoever did it spared no expense to unearth what it is that lies beneath the sand. But they found nothing except for an old ark. You see people around the dig site, but you can't tell who they are from this distance. Get closer. The men are armed. They aren't organized enough to be the Imperial Guards, so they must either be merchants or raiders, probably raiders. Their leader looks familiar though. Why, it's your old friend Espinus. Hallo. Kordanor, didn't think I'd see you so soon. What brings you to my humble abode? I want to take a closer look at the building. Magnificent, isn't it? Hard to believe it was completely abandoned when we found it. A piece of history, just buried and forgotten. 1,000 years ago, the Imperial soldiers marched under the Ark, thinking that it would stand there forever as a testament of their glory. Today, slaves relieve themselves on it. Spiteful fuckers. What are you doing with the slaves? Selling them as cheap labor, since I don't have the heart to kill them. Why? You want them? Afraid not. Now, about this ark. About my ark? Smiles Espinus. For 1,000 Imperials, you can look all you like and even take a small piece home as a souvenir. 1,000 Imperials? To look at an old building? Still taking me for a fool, Kordanor? If all you want is to take a look, then take a look from here. It's free. We both know that you didn't come here to sightseeing, and my price is 1,000 Imperials. Pay me or be on your way. 500 for old time's sakes. 1,000, says Espinus, shaking his head. Last time I was in a hurry, not to mention outnumbered. Now I can sit and wait for you to loosen up your purse for as long as it takes. Mind you, I hope you appreciate the fact that I am not sending in my men to strip you naked and have everything you have. You did me a good turn back in Terran, and Espinus always pays his debts. Den kann ich jetzt nicht nochmal handeln. Nee. Jetzt weiß ich nicht, ob das ein Handelsfail war. Nee. Das war ja schon ein Success. Ne. Okay, das heißt, da bräuchten wir einen Tausender, um da durchzukommen, oder wir müssten die alle umlegen. War vielleicht nicht so gut, ihn am Leben zu lassen. Okay, dann haben wir noch hier unten das. Also wir haben die Ark, 1000 Imperials. Vielleicht kommen wir aber auch anders hin, sobald wir einmal was Sinnvolles da haben. Zamedi, da haben wir ein Feuertor. Okay, dann haben wir noch unten das. Inferie. As you get close to Inferie, you see more and more villagers going about their business. As they notice you, they drop what they are doing and follow you back to the village. By the time you reach it, there's a large crowd trailing you. At the moment, they don't seem to pose any danger to you. Rather than a proper village or settlement, Inferie turns out to be a small group of makeshift dwellings sitting on a hill overlooking the desert. When you get closer, you see that the dwellings circle a large area at the crest of the hill, decorated with stones. The stones from what appears to resemble a giant eye with a gaping hole in the middle where the iris should be. Aha. Wieder 5 Punkte bekommen. 22. Jetzt können wir sogar einen sinnvollen Skill erhöhen. Villager. Okay. Warrior, Villager. One of the villagers assumes the role of a guide and points you to one of the dwellings on the outskirts of the village. The dwelling is surrounded by patches of strange plants glowing out of the sand. Go inside. Azra. You're standing in a small room filled with various plants that leave just enough space for a bed, occupied by a dried-up crone. One of the villagers respectfully taps her on the shoulder and whispers something to her ear. The crone gestures, looking irritated, and the villagers fall back, leaving you alone with her. She slowly gets up, sighs, and comes closer to take a good look at you. Well, she says in a low, raspy voice. Look what the wind blew in. She fixes you with a hard stare and scoffs, her withered lips twisting and moving as if searching for the right words to express her displeasure. So, what am I supposed to do with you? Why should you do anything? What do you do when your garden sprouts weeds? You remove them without pity, even though a weed is a living thing and wants to live as much as everything else does. If you don't, they will ruin the garden. So you don't have to worry about me. I'm here to ask you a few questions, and then I'll be on my way. We shall see about that, won't we? Why did you come here? What is it that you seek? I'm looking for the temple of Torregoth. You see any temple around here? She scoffs again. Why are you looking for it? It holds answers to my questions. It holds a lot more than that. How do you know that? I visited it when I was young and curious. I walked down the ancient walls. I held my hands in the relics the gods left behind. I sat where the Magi did when they came in droves to learn the knowledge that didn't belong in this world. I've even looked down at the sleeping god that lies there and wondered if the kiss of a fair maiden, don't look at me, I wasn't born old, would have the power to wake him. But even then, the crone raises her voice suddenly. I had the wisdom not to touch things I don't understand and leave them alone. Wisdom your kind lacks. So the god is still there, sleeping? Why wouldn't he be? It's not like he has anywhere else to go, crackles the crone. What if the god can make things better, can fix all this? What if he makes things worse, counters the crone. That's the difference between the town dwellers and the desert folk. You hope, always hope. She spits the word hope as if it were an insult. You hope that the Lord will be merciful. Hope that guards won't harass you. Hope that the store owner will take pity on you. Hope that levies won't be raised too much this year. Hope that the prices won't go up. Hope that there will be work tomorrow. You're so used to hoping that someone will take care of you that you're ready to believe in just about anything as long as it promises you a new hope. Intelligence success. You seem to know a lot about the town life for someone who lives in the middle of nowhere. Und ich habe ein Charisma success. I was born in Malduran, says the crone suddenly, before the first exodus. The city was different back then, filled to the brim with people. Like an overused latrine that hasn't been cleaned in a while, smelled about the same too. That's what I remember the most, the smell. We lived like animals, sleeping together to keep warm, eating scraps, fighting for what little we had. Not much of a life that was, yet people thought for it and died for it. Fought for it, yeah. As long as it won't get worse, my mother used to say, like a prayer that went unanswered. Every year things got worse, and every year she said the same thing. It took me years to understand what she meant. Anything we could survive wasn't the worst. Anything we could survive, we could get used to, and then to live with, as long as things won't get worse. That's the crone smiling grimly. The first exodus? That's what they called it. The guards rounded up everyone the city didn't need and sent them off to the desert. It was time for them to reclaim the land and take back what was rightfully theirs, they said. An opportunity for the right kind of people, smiles the crone. My mother was devastated, but I remember it was my first real holiday. Fresh air, plenty of space, clean water that didn't smell like a latrine. The first time I ate fresh meat, I kept looking for maggots and wondering where they were. Before that, I had never had anything, save for some rotten scraps. Water in the desert? The desert is harsh, but not lifeless. It has enough food and water to sustain you, if you know where to look. In the cities, food and water are plentiful, but only if you can afford it. If you don't, you better get used to scraps of rotten meat and dirty water. What happened to the people who left? Most of them died. They begged for scraps and hoped that tomorrow would be a better day somehow instead of doing something to ensure their survival. It doesn't surprise me anymore, seeing what I've seen, she says, shaking her head slowly, her eyes distant. Believing in miracles and someone coming to save you is different than believing in your own ability to do whatever it takes to save yourself. Most people who left the city with us didn't have that belief. I think they were waiting for the first opportunity to give up, and in the desert you don't need to wait long. How did you end up here? We moved around a lot. The desert is in constant motion. To survive, you need to move too. You learn to feel the desert, the winds, the shifting sands, water and the oasis, and follow them. Eventually, the desert led us here, to a holy place. Seems like you've adapted well to the desert. Kingdoms will rise and fall, but the desert will always be here. Her ways are harsh, but her children are strong and will survive where softer folks won't. I saw a strange place in the middle of the village. What is it? A remnant of another age. The desert claimed it, preserved it, led us to it. The predator avoided. Animals feel things that we don't. Shamans get stronger. Dreams here, so they come every now and then bringing gifts and the sacrifice. The sacrifice? The crone shrugs. We stick to the old ways here. To receive, you must give. She doesn't elaborate. Can I go down there? I won't stop you if you choose to do so, but you won't be coming back. Even if you survive, you will stay down there. These people believe that this is a holy place. I can't have them see you emerging from the underworld alive. You go down there, you stay there. That's the deal. That's the deal I offer, and there won't be any other. Some other time maybe. The crow nods. Be on your way then. The villagers surround you the moment you step outside, but the crone shakes her head and they step back, obeying instantly and without questions. Was passiert, wenn ich jetzt dahin laufe? The guards stop you. Block your way. The guard blocks your way and says, "Forbidden. Can I take a look?" The guard looks at you, glances at Saross' house, then nods. You step closer and lean in to take a better look. At that moment, the guard gives you a good push, and down you go. You land on a pile of rotten corpses, the smell making you gag. Slowly, you get up and look around. You're standing in a large chamber. The only source of light is the opening above your head, way out of reach. 2 honor guards are posted there to discourage you from trying to escape. They look down with interest, exchanging comments. Explore. Surprisingly, this evil dungeon is anything but dead and quiet. A deep humming sound fills your ears, seemingly coming from everywhere at once, and the floor under your feet is alive with vibrations. The air is thick and acrid, smelling of sulfur, rock oil, and other unidentifiable things. You see what looks like a stone demon patrolling the dark hallway. It's damaged. The stone surface is broken in many places, but it looks like the head had suffered the most damage. Suddenly, as if it can smell your fear, the demon stops and turns towards you. Where are your manners? Go and introduce yourself to your host. Intruder, the demon asked with uncertainty. Standing closer, you can see that a chunk of his head had been sliced off cleanly, which must have affected his mental capacity. I come in peace. Intruder, says the demon. They always come, I kill them. More comes, always come, always kill. Why do you kill intruders? Master's orders. What did the master say exactly? The demon freezes for almost a minute, then says, defend the tower at all costs, kill anyone who manages to come inside. You managed to come inside, therefore I must kill you. Wait, what if your master comes back? You won't kill him, would you? I can't kill the master, acknowledges the demon. And yet your instructions clearly say anyone. The master isn't anyone. So you decide who anyone is and isn't. I don't think your master would be pleased that you took the liberty to interpret his orders as you see fit. To be honest, I killed my own servants for less. I don't decide. I knew. The demon sounds confused, as if trying to remember something he once knew, but fails. The orders were clear. Do they sound clear to you? Kill everyone, but not everyone? No wonder you're confused. I think you forgot a vital part of the order and can no longer tell who's an intruder and who's a guest. Guests, says the demon, as if remembering the word. Guests were allowed. The master had guests. Well, I'm a guest of your master. He asked me to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So, what happened here? The demon looks at you suspiciously, as if doubting that someone like you can be of any help to him. But he's already accepted the idea that you are a guest and isn't planning to revisit it. Shields failed, sustained extensive damage, lost structural integrity, lost power, insufficient resources for repair, salvaged parts, restored converter, reconstructed portal, revised power level 12%, system core ready. So what can we do here? Follow me. The demon turns around and walks toward the stairs leading to the lower level. Follow him. The demon moves to the console and puts his hands on the controls. The air in the chamber thickens, pressure building, and the humming noise growing stronger. The demon's arms move with speed and precision as the charged air cracks and a small floating sphere of glowing matter appears above the pentagram. The pentagram lines flash bright red as the sphere starts expanding, charging the air around it. Lightning strikes the wall above your head, another hits the floor. Unfazed, the demon pushes a large lever forward and the sphere shrinks in size a little bit and loses some intensity. It floats in mid-air, shivering and contracting. A corona of strange energy flaring up around it and discharging. 32%, says the demon after tapping on some dials. 30, 34, 31. Stable. New orders? Refresh my memory. What can we do with all this? Without the master? Without the databanks? Not much. I do have enough power to release a burst of energy. It will fry anything within a 100-meter radius. It's a good way to keep the enemy at bay. Tell me about the portal. You go through it and come out somewhere else. Simple. Come out where? Where the other portal is, says the demon, sounding more confident now that the conversation has shifted to subjects that don't require any interpretation. It's powered up and ready to receive. So, where does this portal lead to? Maduran. The master went there when the shields failed. The next moment, the tower collapsed. I don't know how long it was under the debris. When I dug myself out, I rebuilt the portal and waited for the master to return. How long ago was that? I don't know. A year ago, too, asked the demon, sounding confused again. Why did he go to Maduran? To warn them, to warn the first of the Magi who attacked you. Balzar. Nobody else had the power to breach my defenses my master employed. Who or what is Balzar? The first of the Yatzatas. The first of the welcomed. The first to bite the hand that fed him. Yatzatas? Worthy of worship? That's what his kind was called. Can you change the destination of the portal? If it is in the databanks, says the demon, pointing at the crystal semisphere. This one is empty, a replacement of the one that was destroyed. What is this crystal? Not crystal, glass, fused silica, cheaper than sapphire, better than crystalline glass, better transmission, low expansion, easily replaceable. Can you show me how to use it? Law failure. The demon looks at you strangely as if struggling with such an odd request, then goes to the semisphere and gives you a quick tour. He moves too fast and uses words and concepts you don't really understand. Let me ask you something else. The demon nods. Tell me about the databanks. There's nothing there, says the demon, pointing at the crystal semisphere. It's empty. Replacement of the one... Release a burst of energy. Ich glaube, werde ich laden. Release a burst of energy. Inferia is about to... Oder? Leave. Ah, okay. Can you show me again how to use the console? Okay, ja, dann werde ich hier einen Schnitt machen und werde mich beim nächsten Mal hier... Ne, ich werde erstmal den Quicksave nochmal laden. Und dann werde ich hier oben einen Schnitt machen und mich beim nächsten Mal nochmal neu da durchklicken, denn dann habe ich hier zumindest ein Safe-Game, auf das ich zurückfallen kann, wenn dann da alles im Arsch sein sollte. Hier oben war ja gar nichts mehr. Ja, aber das scheint ja ganz interessant da unten zu sein. Also schauen wir beim nächsten Mal nochmal da rein. Und dann sage ich erstmal, bis denn!